I have Sue Broome here today, and she is ready for lessons from our loved ones and messages from our loved ones. I apologize about that. And what we're going to do, we're going to give folks just a couple minutes here to gather with us. We're going to do some sharing out, and we want folks to come in and give their give a name of a loved one or the relationship to a loved one in the chat for Facebook. And then Sue will have some folks to actually work with and pull a card for. So if you are listening to this, please come into the chat and share a name of someone. Sue, how are you today?
I'm just lovely. I'm enjoying the sunny weather. I always love the sunny weather.
I'm with you.
So can I share a funny story about yesterday?
Absolutely.
So yesterday on Sundays, I do a Facebook Live every single Sunday where I do the angel message. I just pull the angel card reading for the week, and then I hang out with people for a while and pull cards. And the card that came up for the weekly out of the Desert Speaks deck was the butterfly deck. It was the butterfly, the freedom. And I thought, how perfect, what a perfect card. And so then that got me into talking about when you and I were together last, when I did the meditation, I said, I told everybody, go to Enlightened World. It was on June 28th. And it was a butterfly meditation, and it was so perfect. And then I grabbed the journal that I had done so people could see the difference, the same picture, different effects. And so hung out with everybody for a while, pulled cards for people. And then I thought, I want to pull one more thing after talking about how important right now it is for people to have a spiritual practice, whatever that spiritual practice is. And so, I talked about a couple different things, and I thought I wanted to pull one more card, and the card that I pulled, the freedom card again.
Wow.
So with that, that beautiful, beautiful butterfly, and it was just so perfect. And there were a lot of people yesterday, probably three or four people out of the people that were watching that connected butterflies with one of their loved ones. So it was just perfect. And that's something too that, yes, this deck has very specific messages on it, and it is called Messages from Your Loved Ones. But when people open up to messages and signs from their loved ones, they're all around us. Go for a walk, ask for a message, ask for a sign, and see what nature shows up. As people will be amazed.
Yeah, Sue, I don't know if I told you the story. I'm just looking if there's anybody else that we should be sharing with on Facebook. I don't know if I told you the story of the morning when my mother-in-law died. She was in hospice across town, and I had two little girls here at home, so I couldn't be with her, but my husband was with her. She died about 7 a.m, and my husband called me, and of course I'm just like crying. And at 7:20, this peace and calm came over me. And I wasn't aware of my own intuitive abilities at that point. Mm-hmm. And I laughed and I smiled and I felt such joy. And I thought, where is this coming from? What is this? And I remember hearing the words, and I don't take it literally, but I kind of do. The words were, it takes 20 minutes to get to heaven.
Oh, wow.
And it brought such joy, which was weird because I was crying, feeling this joy, right? And then my husband called me and he goes, I don't know what that was. He said, but all of a sudden I felt this amazing peace and joy come over me. And he's not intuitive. at all. So two of us got that same message. Then a little bit later, the family was coming over for breakfast, right? To just be together at that time.
Mhm.
And I walked outside and there was a bush outside the front door. And it must have had 50 yellow butterflies on it. And
Wow.
we don't get butterflies like that here. And it was clearly a message from her
Yeah.
that all is well. And I'm getting goosebumps even saying that all is well.
Yeah. There's so many people have stories about when someone they know crosses, and maybe they have a visitation, the night before. Sometimes people will get a feeling like you did of you know of peace or calm, or some they might have a memory flash of that person just as they're crossing. And I think it's so beautiful, and it's different for everybody. And that's why I think it's so good that people can share their stories, because what you're saying, someone might listen to that and it's like, oh my gosh, I had something similar and I never realized.
Right. I didn't know
So
that that's what that was. Yeah.
yeah. And they are just all around. Yesterday it was funny because when I was telling everybody that I was going to be on with you today, and I said, yep, and this is, it's the messages from your loved ones deck that I'll be using. And I said, and so before I started, I wanted to pull a card just for everybody. You're going to laugh at the card I pulled yesterday. It was Hear the Chimes. And they were going like crazy yesterday. And it was so funny because, so I pulled the card for everybody. I'm showing the card. And those chimes that had been going off like crazy stopped. And about 30 seconds later, they took off again. And it was almost like, see, I can stop chiming too.
That's
And
weird.
it's funny.
While
Those
we're
chimes
waiting, while
might
we're
get,
waiting for some folks, I'm just going to say, please put their name in. If you want Sue to reach out and see if there's a message from your loved one, please put their name in Messenger, and we will pay attention to that and listen in for you.
yep,
I want to talk. I'm
oh, I
sorry.
was gonna say, pop the name in the comments, and yeah.
So
So
I wanted to talk to you about something which I think is such a fascinating concept. A friend of mine reached out last night and was wondering if her mother was passing. And so I sat in and looked at it, and I saw her mother in spirit being prepared to pass in the exact same way I saw my mother being prepared to pass. There were female, I would say beings, but they were loved ones. I mean, they were primping her and oil on the skin, etc. Which in spirit there is no skin, but they were preparing her to pass. And of course, we never get a timeline with that. Like, oh, well, that means, tomorrow she'll be gone. We don't get that. It could be a 2-month preparation. Who knows?
right.
But I think it's fascinating that in spirit, we are being prepared for that transition. Have you had experiences seeing that, Sue?
I haven't seen like them anointing or anything like that. What I have seen when I was in hospice, I would see Archangel Gabriel a lot.
Mm.
And now, keeping in mind that I did a lot of vigils. So vigils are the last 24 hours, no, 48 hours that they're anticipating that the person will be there. And so I would go sit, we had 4-hour shifts. So I would go sit, and I don't remember ever seeing anything like that. I just, I would see Archangel Gabriel usually standing, like, it's like if I was looking at their bed, I would feel that Archangel Gabriel was like, what, to the ceiling and beyond. And it was always interesting because it wasn't Archangel Azrael, which he's the one that's known as the angel of death, which is who I anticipated, but it was always Gabriel. And when I was talking with someone about this, they're like, well, that makes sense. And I said, why? Why does it make sense? And it's because it's the communication between the two worlds. And it's like, oh, of course that makes sense.
Right, the messenger.
Yeah. So the other thing, there was this guy, it was really interesting. So he had a patch over one eye, but he was also, his eyes were closed the whole 4 hours that I was there. And the entire time, he was like, his head was going back and forth and he was looking all over. At times he was reaching out. Mm-hmm. In fact, there was a couple of times, and he was a very tall man, so his arms were long. There was a couple of times where I had to actually jump back because I felt like he was reaching for me and he wasn't.
He wasn't, yeah.
But it was the whole 4 hours. And it was so amazing because it's like, wow, I would love to be able to see what he's seeing.
Right.
So
that's exciting. I love that. My grandfather was a Baptist minister and really never talked about what you died other than, hellfire and brimstone. And, either you were going to hell or you were going to heaven, and not a whole lot in between. On his deathbed, he saw his sister and she had passed. And so he said out loud to his wife, my grandmother, that his sister was there. And that was the first that line of thinking ever entered into our family. That, oh, maybe there is something out there.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It is very cool. And I think that's why too, that if you are spending time with a loved one, that's, whether they're unconscious or not, it doesn't matter, because they can still hear, as far as I'm concerned. But sharing stories, whether it's you talking to your loved one, whether no one else is in the room, or you and others sharing memories, I think that helps the transition.
Well, about a week or so before my mother passed, she came to me in a dream. And I woke up and she was like she was tucking me in bed. It was like that close. She kissed me on the forehead and she said, "I'm okay. I'm fine." And that was a week before she passed. And it really just let me know she knows she's passing and she's okay with passing. So now all my job is to keep her safe, physically while she passes. So it was pretty profound.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah, it's awesome. I think. So how are you getting some messages? Because I can see them, but I don't know what you're looking at to see messages.
I can't see messages yet. I was looking on my phone. So let me look somewhere else.
I can see them I'm on Enlightened World Network Facebook, because I can see Miss Tammy is there. Hi, Miss Tammy. Here, do you see my siblings? So I'm just going to jot down the ones that I see while you're looking. So Tammy's siblings and dad.
I'm not making a good Ed McMahon if I can't see the videos or the messages.
Hi, Miss Isabel. There's Wendy.
I see it now. There we go.
Anna Coleman. And there was also Judy Captain, but she was too far back and I can't scroll back that far.
Let me see what I can find. Okay, so you've got Wendy.
Yes. And there's a, I don't know how to say this name. There's an aloha, an aloha person, Lehulu, if I'm saying that wrong. And her best friend, Liana. Okay. So while you're looking, so this is who I have. Tammy, Wendy, her mom, Judy Captain. I think it was her friend Lori, but you'll have to double check that. And then Lehulu, her best friend Liana. So how about if I just start and you can?
Yes, please.
Okay. And then you guys, I'm gonna let Miss, oh, there it is. Her friend, yep, it is Judy Captain, her friend Lori.
Oh, good.
I even spelled it right. So are you seeing them now?
I think I can, as long as, if I don't have to go back, I think I can.
Okay.
If I have to go back, I can't.
In my love. And what I feel like is, so we are the ones that are left here, and our loved ones that are on the other side, they circle around us and they are enfolding us. They are sharing their love with us to help support us, because hey, they have this freedom now. It's like, oh yeah, I don't have this body holding me back. So it's perfect. So Miss Tammy, what I'm feeling like is you have just this whole circle of love around you from your loved ones on the other side. And of course, there's angels mixed in there as well. And so what I'm feeling is like you're standing there, and there's some behind you, there's some beside you, but they're also, if you just close your eyes and just really tune in, it's almost like you can feel this love energy, and like a warm blanket coming over you. And you might feel a warmth, you might feel, as like Ruth was saying before, like this peace. You might feel a joy, but notice, because I almost feel like you'll actually be able to feel it, physically feel it. So Miss Tammy, I love that. Love, love, love that. You are enfolded in my love. Awesome. All right, so now I'm going down to Wendy, her mom, Anna. The other thing I always find interesting, Ruth, is when people are sharing stories, and it's interesting, like if you're sharing stories about a mom, it feels like a lot of moms come through. If you're sharing stories about, a grandparent, it feels like a lot of grandparents come through. And I just find that interesting. So Wendy, mom, here it is. Okay, you guys saw me shuffling. It's the same card. And this card, it almost flew out. It's the same card. So Miss Wendy, really pay attention to see if you can notice. Now it feels a little different. So almost like I'm seeing, so like if you were sitting on a chair, in a chair, and your mom is standing beside you with her arm around you, but she's standing beside you. Almost like if you reached out your arm would be kind of around her waist or her back, and she's standing beside you. That's what it feels like. So and Ruth, as I'm going along, if you're getting other things, please, please, please add them in. But yeah, actually, I feel like your mom was pretty short. So I don't know, Wendy, if your mom was Miss Anna, if she was really short, but I feel like she wasn't a very tall lady. But that's what it feels like. And yeah, it's a very soft feeling, like a very soft feeling on your shoulders. So
Sue, what I'm getting with that one is maybe not very tall, but really able to love a whole lot. I mean, there's just like so much love that's emanating from them.
Yes, emanate is a really good word. All right, next I'm going to do Miss Judy and her friend Lori. Judy and her friend Lori. There it is.
Wendy says she was full of love, and yes, she was short.
That's funny.
Got it.
So Miss Judy, it is feel my presence. Now I know that your friend Lori, because I know that I pulled cards for her before, and I feel like it's when you are present, you absolutely can feel her presence. And I think it's really important because when and this is for all of us, when we start getting sidetracked and we're not, we're rushing around doing this, and we're only halfway paying attention to what it is we're doing, then it's almost like it's so scattered energy that it's harder for them to connect. But when we take a couple of moments and center ourselves and feel our breath, that's when they can feel and really connect. So it's getting in the present moment with your breath, or if you're even, I think, if an exercise to help people get in this present moment, yes, you can do your breathing, or you can sit and look at a tree and go through and just think of all the different aspects of that tree and feel the energy of the tree, or whatever is in front of you. Pick up anything, it doesn't matter, look at something, but it helps you get you centered. And I think being in that present moment, then it allows for the connection to be stronger, and that's when you can really feel the presence. So there you go, Miss Judy. All right, so this is Lei Hulu and Liana, her best friend. Oh, thought that was it. It wasn't. There it is. I feel your love every day. So what I'm seeing is I feel like there's a picture of the two of you together, maybe, from a vacation or something, that you notice you have it in a prominent place where you see it every single day. So you think of her every single day, even at other times, but that picture is always also a reminder that the time that you spent together, the things that you did together. Yeah. And it's because I have a friend that she's still in the physical, but I have that picture on the refrigerator. So every single time I see it, it's like, oh yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that. And I feel like it's that type of thing. And if you don't have a picture, I think it's time to find a picture, or go through pictures and just take time to go through those memories and pick out some of the happier ones. Oh, she says yes on my ice box. I see it every day. There you go. Thank you. Perfect. When he says, thank you both. I love EWN.
Aw. We love having you here.
So do you have more?
Got a couple more. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, you're ready for me.
I'm ready for you.
Before I give you one, Spirit's been sharing something with me the last couple of days, and I wanted to share it all with you because I think it's fascinating. I have a friend who is facing a really big life health crisis that very well might end her life. And she's good with that. Um, I'm not as good with that as she is, but she's good with that. But what they keep showing me is that they are preparing her in spirit. We started the show with this, but it's a little bit different. What we had talked about before was them preparing for the transition.
Mhm.
One of the things that they've been showing me is that they are preparing her in spirit for her next role. And I have seen her with her guide who is preparing her for one part of her role. I've seen her with another guide who's preparing her for another part of her role. And of course, we don't know when she's going to be leaving here. But I think it's fascinating that we're all on this spiritual curriculum of our own soul. And it doesn't stop when we leave the body. They're preparing for next steps in the next role. I just think it's kind of fascinating. Just me.
It is very fascinating, and it's almost it almost feels like there are things for the next role that some could be taken care of now, and some you could put off, so to speak. And it reminds me of a friend of mine, when her mother was getting ready to transition. She hung on for a long time, and she was not in good health. But what my friend, what she felt was that her mom, by staying as long as she did, knocked off a couple of lifetimes, because she took care of those lessons now instead of waiting. So, yeah.
That's very cool. Very cool. Okay, so Isabel Reese. She has a biological father and she has the father who raised her. She's actually hoping to hear from both of them.
Okay. So dance. Now, if there's one card or two cards, I will. But if there's more than that, then it's just Sue. So, oh, pay attention. Now, also, that is kind of funny though, because just the action of the cards flying like that, does that relate to either of the dads? Because
Right.
everything, when you put the intention out there, pay attention to every single detail. Oh, funny. No, thought that was it, but it wasn't. And then sometimes they also take a while.
That's right. It'll be worth the wait.
Well, I'm going to fan the cards and see if I can. And it doesn't mean that they're not here.
Right. Which one are you thinking of first? The biological father or the father who raised her?
Biological. So I'm just fanning the cards like that, and I'm actually going to pull the two cards, but biological is what first, because that's the way you said them. Well, all right. Let's see. So biological, I will song.
I will sing you a song.
I will sing you a song. So what comes to mind is, there are certain songs that my dad used to sing. And so if I all of a sudden start, if you go down in the woods today, it's something about the bears. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of the songs that he used to sing to us. So and that maybe there's a song that you hear that reminds you of your dad, whether he used to sing it or he used to play it, it doesn't matter. It's just, it's that connection. But this feels like there was something that, and you said he was your biological dad. So to me, that says, well, maybe you met him, maybe you didn't, but there was some song that connected two of you somehow. So, and maybe you have, maybe there's a recording or something of him singing a song, but it feels like that is going to be your recognition. And sometimes it's even it's the melody, but it's also the words, but they don't have to be together, if that makes sense.
So I'm reading a little more into what you're saying. So I've never seen it take so long for a card to show up for you. And I wonder if this dad, Isabel, let us know how right or how wrong we are here. I wonder if this dad was kind of absent as well. He wasn't the dad that raised her.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with that song, she may not have ever heard that song. Right. But my guess is that he thought it, hummed it, sang it, and thought of Isabel. So spirit to spirit, the song was there for her. I don't know if it ever actually made it down to the physical realm connection.
So she says, I meet him but never contact. So I'm not quite sure because, but okay, going to search on. So I'm not sure what that means. And then she said, I never did. So she must not have ever met him. But I totally get what you're saying because, and I've never been a mother. So I don't know what it feels like to have a child and people that give up children for whatever reason, or maybe especially if it's a man, maybe they never knew that the woman was pregnant. It doesn't matter. But it doesn't mean that the parent doesn't think about the child.
Right.
So, yes.
Yeah.
So she says, not enough contact to hear a song from him. But, so here's the thing, Isabel, something you might think about is sit down and do a meditation with him and see if there are songs that either come up in the meditation or show themselves after the fact. So you do the meditation and then you go about your day. And there's excuse me, and there's a song that you all of a sudden hear, and it's like, oh. And then you hear it again. So just pay attention.
And she says she met him as an adult.
Okay.
My guess is, Isabel, that you were probably never that far from his thinking.
Yeah, and that totally makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. And then the father who raised her.
This
just popped right up.
Yeah. Well, this one, no, I had pulled them both before. So feel my presence. And this, didn't this card already come up as well? Was it that? Wasn't it for Lori? I think
yeah.
I think it was. And that is absolutely because he was there. But I feel like, so there's something about presence. Presence is one of those words where there's, being present, but it feels different. There is something in a present, like as in a gift, that you really connect with him. So I don't know if it's something of his that you carry, whether it was his, whether you gave it to him as a gift or he gave it to you as a gift, but it feels like there is something that is tangible. I can pick up a rock and it feels like there's something tangible that you can really connect with him. So
what I wonder, Isabel, let us know about this father who raised you. Oh, she said, I love it. I know he is there for me. We are very close. A big connection. What I'm getting with the um, father who raised you is a sense of humor. Like he would laugh so freely about things and see life from maybe a little bit of a skewed angle, which made you both giggle. And so when I see that about the presence, it's it's that ability to laugh at the world a little bit, to find the humor in it, the joy in it. So Isabel, let me know. Was he a big laugher? Did he make you laugh? Because that's what I'm feeling with it. So
Well,
okay.
I just have to tell, I have to share this because as you're talking, I'm just shuffling, and this card popped up as Hear My Whispers.
Well,
So I feel like this is for everybody, because our loved ones, it's not like, sometimes they do, have a billboard. We have to pay attention. So it might be so soft that it's like, did I really hear that? So pay attention to those whispers. And it might even be that you just feel the breath on your ear. So
yeah, I love it. Okay, Gloria Tapia wants to hear from her late husband.
hi, Miss Gloria. Late hobby. It's funny, yesterday my neighbors are almost exactly the age that my parents would be if they were here. And I really enjoy them. And I was over yesterday, we were sitting outside talking. And there's this laugh sometimes. It sounds like a sinister kind of evil laugh. And he starts cracking up. He goes, do that again. So yesterday, you talk about laughter. I would do it again, and all three of us were just cracking up for no reason. Oh, all right, Gloria hubby. Gloria hubby. Now they're all being sticky, which is fine. Nope, there it is. Yeah, I say something then it comes. So Miss Gloria, our love is ever expanding. What a great card, because I think it's a reminder to everybody that when our loved one crosses, the love doesn't stop. The love never stops. The love increases, it expands, it goes to a different level because they're not physically here. And I know that it does take some time to get to that feeling, I think, for a lot of people. Because we do like to have their physical presence, their physical being, absolutely. Getting a hug from somebody that's actually here in the 3D. But it's also, the love is always there. And this is not Sue talking. This is science. I don't know if it's science. I've read several articles over the years, but when you close your eyes and you go into a memory, or you imagine, or you visualize, your brain doesn't know the difference. So when you're really missing your loved one, close your eyes and just allow yourself to be with them, and just allow the feeling of love to even expand more. So love that. Miss Gloria. Isabel says, yes, he made me laugh and be happy, and nobody shows me that beauty of life as him. He was very kind to me and loved me unconditional. He did not love more his own daughter than me. That's beautiful.
That is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So Tammy Hill would love to hear something from her grandparents.
Miss Tammy. Grandparents. We got a party going on over there, huh? The jets going by. All right. Folded in my love. Now, is this the same card that came up before? You are enfolded in my love?
I don't remember.
It was very similar, and I think the same. It was a very similar one for me before with siblings and dad. And it's so interesting because I think because there's a grouping of people, and I think that it's just perfect because so. You know, before when I was with Tammy, with her siblings and dad, it was this grouping of people. And it feels a little differently for the grandparents, but it feels very similar. And this is something that I had done an exercise. It was a meditation years ago, and it was so powerful. And I feel like there's something like this, Tammy, that you can do. But it's like, so if you are standing or sitting, you have, you know, one set of grandparents on one side and one set of grandparents on the other side. Doesn't matter who's on which side. And feeling not only their love, but their wisdom and their knowledge coming to you. I thought I was going to tell you about this meditation where there were 7 generations, and it doesn't feel like that. I thought that's where it was going, but it's like, no, it doesn't feel like that. But it feels like there's connection through different things that you have, Tammy, that they are supporting you now. And sometimes you don't even realize that it's coming from them. But there is. It's like sometimes when I'm doing something, it's like, oh my gosh, I got that from Grandma Lindy. You know, it's something like that where they are not only standing with you, allowing their love to emanate, but there's also in the love. I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense.
Very cool. So the plot thickens with Isabel. She says, by the way, my biological father was my father's younger brother. And they hid it from her all their lives.
Wow.
Wow.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. It is. You can really see the missing biological dad, but then he watched her grow up. I mean, if that he knew what was happening with her because the brother was raising her. That's crazy.
It is crazy. But you know, and I don't know what you know, how old they were, but I had done a workshop. I had taken, what was it called? I think it was called Family Constellations. Have you ever done that kind of work?
I have not.
It was really interesting, where you had different, you know, however many people were in this workshop. I think there was probably 20 of us, but you would think of a situation, and I don't even remember if we told the person that was doing the class what the situation was, but then different people would be assigned to represent those people in that situation. And it could be family, it could be work. So I'll give you an example. It might be easier for me to explain it. So say that when I was a child, I was abused and it was, horrible, and I was still living all this. And I was, my parents were out of the picture and my siblings were all out of the picture after all this abuse happened. So they would assign, this person would be your mom, this person would be your dad, this person would be a sister, this person would be a brother. And they would be put in the center of the circle, and I would be sitting back watching it play out. And the people that were representing, they would do whatever they were guided to do, walk around, stand, without saying a word. And it was truly amazing to me, some of the things that happened and some of the things that would play out. And one of the things that it reminds me of with the two brothers is that in the old country, there were things that got buried and things that they left behind that they did not bring here, that, I might not have ever known, but it affected me.
Oh, wow. Got it.
And that's what I was feeling when she said that. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. So Isabel said that's why it was so hard for, that's why it was so hard for you to find the card, because he had in his lifetime.
Yeah,
I love that. And Grace Isis is joining us. Stephanie Stafford joined us. So glad to have you ladies here. Grace, I know you've lost a number of folks in your lifetime. If there's somebody that you would like a message from, please just write the name in the chat and we'll ask Sue to see if she can receive a message. So Sue, this next one is one of our folks who's on here all the time, Prichetta Nayar. Her mother passed away. Kayesh Nayar.
Kayesh?
Uh-huh.
And it's her mother, you said.
Right.
Another one. It is. Notice the numbers. I love this. It's funny because that's how I notice my mom most of the time, is through her 6/14 was her birthday, is her birthday, or 6/42 because that was the year she was born. But also sometimes I'll see 7/2 because that's the day that she transitioned. Now, I see these numbers all over the place. I mean, yes, license plates and time, those all make sense, and phone number, but sometimes, you see it on a receipt, which is kind of bizarre, or you hear somebody say it. If you have something playing and you hear somebody say 6/14, and it's like, what? It's just, so it's paying attention to the numbers. And I think what it does for people is it's a doorway. So if you've never connected with your loved one before, it's a starting point. And it's to me, I think when I started noticing that's how I was connecting, it felt more 3D-ish because I can see the number, or I can see the license plate. But then when stuff would happen so bizarrely, it's like, okay, I'm getting the message. Thank you for the message. And sometimes even if you feel like, oh, that could have been, it's like, thank you very much. Now give me another. So what you might want to do is write down even a list of numbers that might mean something to you. For example, with my grandma Lynn, the number that I recognize her with is 846 because that was the prefix of her phone number. And the last couple of years before she died, I talked to her every day. So notice the numbers.
So what I'm getting with their mother, Prashetta's got a brother who's on with us a lot as well. What I'm getting with their mother is that she is with them more than she is not.
That's, yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah, it just feels like she is so often with them. Like she knows everything that's happening with you both on a daily basis because she's just right there.
Mhm.
So by saying, pay attention to the numbers, it almost feels to me like every time you see a number, think of your mom, because that's how often she's with you.
Mhm.
She really has quite a presence. Her mother really has quite a presence, and I know she's with them a lot. And yeah, I hope that you all can feel the hope and the love that she really didn't leave y'all. Yeah. So let me see. Nikki Summer is just hoping for a message. Oh, no, wait, here it says, sorry, forgot to put the name. My grandfather John or grandmother Joan or any one of my family. Nikki's open.
It's funny because this was when I was still living in Wisconsin, and there was a truck that was right in front of me that had, I think it was either 312 or 338, because that's how I see my dad. And, or maybe there was two things with numbers. One was 312, one was 338, but it was all at the same time. And then I realized I was sitting at the stoplight where
Could have said, thanks so much. We feel her so alive. Yeah.
Good. Okay, that one flipped. Because I feel your prayers of love. And I feel like the prayers, whether you're talking or whether you're just going into a memory and allowing yourself to really feel that, I feel like that's the connection. And this is a kind of a confirmation that when you connect with them, they feel it. There's if you were sitting there and you thought of your loved one and then something happened that you would get a message or a sign, is it that you had the thought first, or they're standing there saying, and that's what causes the sign to happen? And then so it's like, well, which came first? Does it matter? No.
Right.
But there's absolutely the connection. And I know just because they're not here in the 3D world doesn't mean that not to continue having conversations with them, whether it's having a conversation in your mind, talking out loud, writing them a letter. They can still feel it and hear it. So
perfect. Thank you.
Yes.
So now Grace Isis, she's asking to hear something from George Triff. It's a little confusing. It says, kindly requesting to hear from George Triff a message for his son, Alex. And I don't know if that's supposed to be a message for his son, Alex. I'm not sure exactly on there, but we're wanting to hear something from George Triff. I'm sure it will work for his son as well.
George. Notice what's right in front of you. Mm-hmm. And this actually does go back to paying attention to being present, being in this present moment instead of worried about yesterday or thinking about tomorrow. It's like, no, I'm just going to be right now and notice right now what is going on in my present moment. And there's, I'm sure you've all heard the saying that the present moment is the gift. And it truly is, because when we are in this present moment, that's where everything is. Everything. And that's where we notice the things. That's where we can feel the connection, where we can feel the love with the person, with the, other people, whether they're here in the 3D world, but maybe they're across the United States, maybe they're across the world. We can still connect with them. And noticing what is right in front of you, that's getting in this present moment. I also do feel like there is something that, like if you look around, wherever you're sitting even right now, if you look around, there is something that it's like, it's either got the name of George, whether it's the same George or a different George, but it's like there's something, or, you pick up a book and the first paragraph has the name George in it. It's something like that happens. So because this flipped out, I send rainbows. Mm. And rainbows are so interesting because rainbows can be seen in so many different ways, not just in the sky after a rain. They can be all over the place. I'm surprised I don't see more rainbows in here right now, but yeah. So Grace, you'll have to let us know about that from George.
I'm also really hearing and feeling George in nature, outside with wood, and whether it's being in the woods or time spent together, memories of being outside in nature with George. That's coming across really strong to me. And what I'm getting with that is when you're outside in any of those places, if you think of him, it's because he's right there with you.
Mm-hmm. And and that's a good thought also, because when you think of them, whether you notice a sign or not, that is the sign, that is the message that you thought of them. Because going back to what I was saying before, it's like, are they standing there saying, hey, think of me, and all of a sudden you have that thought? It's like, yeah. The answer is yes.
Exactly, perfect. And we just have a couple of minutes. I know Tammy, you were hoping for another one. We've done a couple with you today. We're going to do Stephanie Stafford last. And Tammy, be with us next time, and we'll absolutely take a look at that. Stephanie Stafford is hoping to hear from her beloved father, Leo Lang.
Right. There it is. That one was going to flip the whole deck. You are never alone, Miss Stephanie, Miss Sweet Stephanie. You are never alone. It's funny because of course, this is not who I was thinking you were going to ask for, Miss Stephanie. And I do feel that Tony is with you always, always, always. So I love that this card came up as a message from Leo, that you are never alone, and it's in everything you do. And I know that you connect so much, and through when you're doing meditation or when you're doing walks in nature. And I think this is a really good confirmation that you absolutely are never alone. And when we feel alone, that's when we need to just close our eyes. Not need to, I don't want to put that on anybody, but when we can take a couple minutes and close our eyes, that's when we know we truly aren't alone, ever. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Well, so thank you everybody for being here. And Grace just validated that George was always working outside the house in Florida. So that outside connection, the nature connection. Well, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Sue, as always, an absolute pleasure to do this with you and get to hear these messages from our loved ones. So thank you for committing to us that you're going to do this once a month with us.
Yes, the next time I'll be back is March 8th. So thank you everyone so much for joining. It just, I love doing these. I love spending time with Ruth and her crew, but I love when our loved ones, when I can share what little bit I know and help with that connection. So thank you.
Great. So
But
thanks,
yes, March
everybody.
8th.
Yeah, March 8th. Thanks you, everybody, for being here with us. And we look forward to having you with us next time. So much love to each and every one of you. Take good care.